Hello and welcome everyone, Sasha here, Fudo Evangelist, and this week's cybersecurity news from around the world. Happy to be here, let's get started. The very first story is over in Germany. So recently, this is another breach at a tech company, actually a social media chat application in Germany, quite a big one. And why is it significant? It affected over 1 million users. Thousands upon thousands of emails were stolen, but this marks a really interesting concept for two reasons. One, it's the first GDPR case in Germany, so the regulators there did step in and fined this company because they did not protect the sensitive data in the correct way. Secondly, it's interesting because the fine is 20,000 euros. So you heard correctly, 20,000 euros. And we've been talking about in the past how the fines usually are much higher, usually 4% of the income, and usually quite a significant number, much higher, going into the million marker. And it's an interesting case here because what the German regulator here has done is that they have shown us a way that depending on how a company will react to a breach, how they behave straight after, what steps they take immediately after, that perhaps there's some leniency. And actually there's a quote, you can read about the story by the German regulator, the commissioner, who essentially said that it's not a competition to bring the highest fines, but rather to protect the end user. So an interesting case there from Germany. Right, on to our second story. This is kind of collection review of healthcare in 2018. It's been another milestone year for healthcare. It's a big topic. I've covered this in the past. We've had our webinars covering the whole state of cybersecurity in healthcare. There's a lot of breaches. But this section here covers quite a lot of information in terms of statistics from various sources. So check that out, what you need to know. It's always good to be in the know and to stay ahead. And that report will give you some interesting information. The next story is a report by Cisco. So this one has impressed me the most this week. So they've done some research here. Now their prediction is that the amount of global IP traffic is going to increase absolutely dramatically. This data flow will just explode to about, we're looking at 4.8 zettabytes by 2022. Put in another way, that by 2022, just a few years away, there'll be more IP traffic and more data generated and more activity on the internet than in all of the 32 years combined. Yeah? So by that year, that rate will be bigger than 32 years combined. Can you imagine? So this is because of massive impact of data increase, as we mentioned in the past broadcasts. So everything with the IoT devices, global IP data will just absolutely be out of this world. So what does that mean for security? This is going to be a massive challenge in terms of watching who's accessing what, how, in the cloud. So massive piece of information, really fascinating. And how is security going to play a part of that? Next, we're moving over to the Gulf, the Persian Gulf. So this incident here about a big oil and gas provider based in Milan called Saipem. So they have operations in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia, and the whole Gulf region. So they've reported this week that they suffered a cyber attack in numerous parts of their operations. So it shows you how this as well, with oil and gas, critical infrastructure, now another sensitive area, especially with oil and gas. They're not quite sure yet who was behind the attack, what exactly was stolen, how significant the breach is, but there was an incident there. So it might be state-sponsored, might be industrial espionage, but it does mark a very important sector, is again in the news. And this is something that just shows you more and more every week, folks. I tell you, no sector is really immune from cyber attacks. So this is just another example. Right, and then our last story this week, connected, of course, to healthcare. There always seems to be this, and as I said before in our webinars, that healthcare carries this dubious reputation. It is just one of the most vulnerable areas of the economy. Very, very highly sensitive data. And again, we have a hospital breach in Texas. They've just disclosed in the last couple days that there was a third-party breach in their payment system. They've already alerted a lot of their patients. We're looking at probably well over 50,000 patients affected. Again, these are partial credit cards information, also billing information. So they're of course in touch with all their patients who've been affected, which shows again, how vulnerable this part of the economy is. Right. So that's all for this week. As ever, we wish that you stay safe and tune in next time. Take care, everyone.